Now, I've seen rumors about this guy, Larry Wheels. I used to watch his videos all the time back when I was into like bodybuilding and shit. But he's a strong motherfucker. I'm really surprised he has any type of files going on, but apparently the Larry files have been released. We're gonna take a look at the Larry files.
From being one of the strongest men on the planet, competing in bodybuilding, arm wrestling, and being the face of the strength world, to succumbing to addictions, cheating on his girlfriend, scamming his friends for money, and much, much more.
What was he doing?
How did someone who was basically at the top
What addictions
of the
did he have?
strength
Steroids?
world throw it all away and end up becoming hated by almost everyone, despite being one of the most liked guys online for years? Back in 2018 to 2022, Larry Williams was seen as the golden child of the strength world. He held multiple powerlifting world records, was in great physical condition, and his content was very enjoyable. Training with other guys, hitting PRs seemingly every week, having a laugh suitable for a James Bond villain, you know, the usual.
Girls out in place.
Then in 2019, Larry
Was that Clarissa Shields?
on his girlfriend at the time, Chelsea King, which I'm not gonna go too much into detail on because it's an old story. But being a man on, let's say, a huge amount of supplements, a lot of messed up things happen to your body and also inside your brain. It's very normal for guys on stuff like trenbolone to have, let's just say, different desires. And that's fine. But when you start taking it out,
I've heard that people on steroids like turn gay type shit. Like they start liking dick for some reason. I don't know.
on other people, that's when it becomes a problem. Though being a likable man as he was, nobody really cared for this short-term controversy, and Larry eventually got back to making content, competing, and doing strongman, bodybuilding, all that good stuff. Then he said quite a few things which at the time he didn't really uphold, like the one time he said he was gonna quit taking anabolic steroids, but jumped on again after a few months. Or that one time he spoke about his addiction to corn, claiming that he virtually got broke because he spent so much money on campsites, spending up to 5 figures a day according to himself, and even starting an OF account at some point. But at first,
I ain't gonna lie, your ass too buff to be into cam girls and shit.
everyone was supportive. He was seen as the most open and honest guy in the bodybuilding, strength, and fitness industry. It certainly does take a lot to talk about this stuff online in front of millions of people. But this eventually backfired horribly, which we'll get back to later on. Still, Larry was very likable and continued his success online for years. However, just a few months ago, it came out that Larry Wheels supposedly stole money from investors in his brand, PR, to buy his dream mansion in LA. According to papers, he owes a supposed $50,000 US to a guy who wanted to purchase 3% of his company, a sum which the guy paid to Larry, but he never received what he was promised. Which, to my knowledge, is still an ongoing case, so it's important to note that nothing has really been settled. Still, being a guy who makes millions a year, you would expect Larry to pay up for what he owed, but to my knowledge, this hasn't been the case. And to make matters even worse, this wasn't just some random guy, but a close friend who actually worked with his brand before, and who
selling out the friends
from his dad to buy in, and
selling out the
a lot of his own savings to be part of that deal. Now, if you want the full story, I would recommend checking out John Bravo. He's a master at digging through cases like these, and I'll link the video in the description. But this is bad enough on its own, and it says a lot about your character when you're literally scamming your friends to buy a mansion. But it gets worse. Recently, Larry has been caught up in some serious drama, where he's been called out for being a CUCK, which means you like seeing your woman get done by other guys, and his content has, let's just say, made quite a shift. From lifting weights, collabs with other fitness influencers, and himself competing, to now posting a lot of short clips, a lot of which include his recent fiancée or wife, which hasn't been received well by his audience at all. At the same time, with all these CUCK allegations by guys like John Bravo again,
I see clips of him and his wife and him getting disrespected like over and over again by people around him and people around his wife. It's bad, man. How can you let this happen, dude?
also great to set. All of his collabs, which include his wife, are now seen more as rituals than anything, because Larry has, let's just say, a few special desires, which I'm not really gonna delve into right here because this is a family-friendly channel. But after being called out,
I know it's a kink and like not everyone will understand, but I just can't wrap my head around the thought of like you enjoying watching someone else get with your woman. Like, that shit has never made sense to me. Maybe it's like a trauma response, but how would that even come about? Like, that shit's weird.
Larry went on none other than Clavicular's stream, who is a whole different type of guy, not exactly known for being the best type of guy, and says that no, none of these allegations are real, it's all made up. And that right there is where things really start to fall apart for Larry. Because look, nobody cares what Larry does in his private life. The fitness industry has seen way worse. Guys who've blasted grams of trend, lied about being natural for decades, sold garbage supplements to teenagers, the grapefruit incident, and people have still kept their audience. That's not what kills your reputation. What kills your reputation is the change in you as a person, and when people stop respecting you and your antics, that's when you can start to fall off. Because Larry didn't build his brand on being some mysterious guy who never talks. He actually built it on being very open and honest about everything he does. The transparent guy who talked about his PED use, his personal struggles. The guy who tells you the ugly truth and admits when he's messed up. And for years, that worked beautifully for Larry Wheels. People respected him for admitting his steroid use. They respected him for talking about his addiction. They respected him for being open about his personal struggles. But the problem is, when you're building your brand on honesty, is that once people have seen that you actually lied to benefit yourself and to hurt others, that's when every speck of authenticity just gets blown away. And that is kind of what we're seeing right now. Now, it seems that Larry is just trying to make viral clips to farm views instead of what people actually came to see from him in the first place. Like, he recently punched a guy in the face for talking smack about his wife, which many believe was scripted.
That was deserved though.
He also does a lot of these random collabs and supposedly deleting most comments regarding the most recent controversy, indicating that he's just not gonna cover them at all, which again is really sad when you've built a brand on being such an open and honest person. And even worse, he recently went up to an old man and started pressing the guy over photos that he believed he took of his wife, which by the way he didn't, which is just an insane thing to do, especially considering the guy was a fan.
The camera guy was telling me he took a photo of my wife.
No, I took a photo of you.
Is that me?
Yeah.
It just shows that his head isn't in
That
the
didn't
right
seem
place
too
right
bad.
now. Like, either he's doing it for clicks and attention, which you know is the name of the game of social media after all, or it's because he's insecure and feels the need to call out an old gentleman to look tough, while he didn't do the same thing to guys like Rampage Jackson when he did something arguably worse. Now, we don't know everything what's going on with Larry right now, but one thing here is
Rampage would put this nigga in some shit you never heard of before and break his neck. Why would he press Rampage?
probably true, and that is the PEDs that he's been using since he was 16 are finally catching up, and they definitely have ruined a big part of his thought pattern, his mindset towards things. Like, he probably wouldn't have those camgirl addictions if he wasn't on PEDs. He may not have cheated on his girlfriend or spent so much money on his addiction if he was natural. And there is quite a bit of research to back this up as well, like this study from the year 2000, which found that people on steroids are more prone to making reckless decisions and can even become more manic. There's also the research which backs up the claim of roid rage, where taking steroids can make you act up more when you eventually do become mad, like they boost irritability, and they can cause people to become paranoid, anxious, and even induce psychosis. Now, I'm not saying that Larry has any of these things, but excessive PED abuse for years, especially combined with an addictive personality, isn't exactly a recipe for success. At least cognitively, because his social medias are a hell of a success story. But does Larry Wheels deserve all of this recent hate? Primarily yes, but also no. In one regard, he's avoiding taking accountability for his actions and just not addressing anything, calling the claims made against him lies, and then making a huge swap in content, which is evident in only being for clout at this point. Not just because of the swap away from lifting, clip farming, and collabing with people known to do the same, but he also appears like he himself doesn't enjoy the content that he's making as much. Like, it's clear that this is not—
I was gonna say, when you look in his eyes today, he just doesn't have any soul in them. Like, it's just, I don't know how to explain it. Like, his eyes just look dead. Compared to, like, when he was doing crazy lifts and shit, he was looking alive. Like, it's just me, though.
Which is doing both himself and his audience a massive disservice. I think that he would be much better off just addressing everything, getting his audience back, and just coming clean, sorting everything out in public, and I think that would make people respect him once again. Like, his current strategy just seems to be getting as much attention as possible, try to go viral with whatever is happening during a stream, which, yeah, it's a real strategy to grow on social media, but it's not the reason why people started following Larry Wheels in the first place. And it's definitely not how I know the guy, as somebody who has been watching his content for years. I don't know, it's just a weird situation, but let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, whether or not you think the negativity towards Larry right now is justified or not. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.
Larry Wheels was an inspirational to me when I was a kid, and to see the downfall it's kind of sad, bro. It's kind of sad. I just think he's like, it's just bad clips. I don't really think he's really like that. All right, bro. Besides the cam girls, 5,000 a day. Yo, how I start up an AI cam girl site?